Donald Trump is a moron. Okay, I think we all know that. Donald Trump is a doofus. He doesn't know what he's doing. He often does things out of pure and raw emotion. And so there's no real thought going into stuff. And that's what you get. And, that's what we're seeing here. So, as you guys know, Trump has this trade war going on with China and other countries as well. But there's a Fed study that has come out from the Federal Reserve, of course, saying that the Trump tariffs backfired and caused job losses and higher prices. So, says President Trump's tariffs on imports meant to boost the economy ultimately led to job losses and higher prices. A new study from the Federal Reserve has found, quote, we find that the tariff increases enacted in 2018 are associated with relative reductions in manufacturing employment and relative increases in producer prices. So it says, MarketWatch first reported the study, noting that 10 primary industries were hit by retaliatory tariffs and higher prices, including producers of magnetic and optical media, leather goods, aluminum sheet, iron and steel, motor vehicles, household appliances, sawmills, audio and video equipment, pesticide, and computer equipment. So, and then it says, the Trump administration first implemented steel and aluminum tariffs in March of 2018, with the president declaring at the time that, quote, aggressive foreign trade practices related to the trade goods amounted to an assault on our country and the U.S. steel industry. Since then, Trump has announced new rounds of tariffs on billions of Chinese goods and retaliatory back and forth with the country. So, basically, if you don't know what a tariff is basically a tax on goods, a tax on a good being imported into the country, right? So let's say, a company imports some goods from a different country. There's a tax on that. Where does that money go? It goes to the federal government. So that extra money goes to the federal government. And the idea is we're incentivizing domestic producers by having imports more expensive. Now, tariffs are a very complicated issue. They're not, super simple. And that's the thing. It's not one of those black and white type of issues that you have to understand. It's not just tariffs good, no tariffs bad. That's not how this works at all, okay? So, I watched Richard Wolff. Richard Wolff is, one of the smartest people there is, right? And the way he explains it is that, basically what ends up happening is if you place tariffs, there are many ways that it's going to backfire. One of them being retaliatory tariffs, okay? That they're going to retaliate and just make it so that the tariffs are useless. And they'll, in other countries, they won't take any hits. Now, another way that he explains is when you do tariffs on unfinished products, that actually leads to a lessening of jobs in industries that use those supplies. So, like, what he said was steel and aluminum, the tariffs on steel and aluminum. So steel companies and aluminum companies are sitting pretty, but industries like the can industry, for example, they're going to take hits because those products that they're using are now more expensive for them. So then they're going to lay off workers. So the steel and aluminum industry has some boosts, right? But when you talk about the can, industries that use cans, like, Coca-Cola and whatnot, soda industries, right? They're using those steel and aluminum, right? They're going to lay off workers because now they're paying more for those products, okay? So it's this thing, it's not working when you do it on unfinished products. So unfinished goods and raw goods, like steel and aluminum, they're not going to do well with these tariffs because it's just a clear, fuck up. There's no way, like, any basic calculation will tell you this shit's not going to work. And so this study is essentially stating that. And so Richard Wolff's explanation was kind of an easy way to understand it, and how, you're just going to result in the industry that uses those goods having layoffs. So the way that these tariffs have been implemented by the Trump administration are the most boneheaded way you could possibly implement them. It's hilariously bad. And that's what we have. Now, one thing I will say is we are clearly way too tied up with China in terms of finances and trade. As you guys know, they have about, I believe it's 3 million Uyghurs, Muslims, in China who are in internment camps right now. And nobody really talks about it because they're such a giant trade ally. China is, whatever you want to call it, state capitals, whatever the hell you want to call it. So there's some lefties who are fans of China. Those are morons. China is essentially a dictatorship at this point. YouTube is banned. Wikipedia is banned. The leader is a big old pussy who banned Winnie the Pooh because people are making memes about him looking like Winnie the Pooh. VPNs are banned. It's like, dude, it's so insane. Like, fuck China to the ultimate degree. So that's the thing here. That the way that these policies are being implemented is insanely stupid.